The rain has not stopped for 7 days. Sarah kneels in the mud before the black stone marker, her thin dress soaked through to the skin. The cold should bother her. It doesn't. Nothing has bothered her for 3 months. Not the cold, not the hunger, not the bruises that bloom fresh across her ribs each morning. Kael Vornath, Alpha King of the Thornhaven realm, beloved ruler, fallen in battle. The words carved into the stone are lies. She knows this because there is no body beneath the earth. They never recovered him from the river, never found so much as a scrap of his armor. But Varen insisted on the burial anyway, said the pack needed closure, needed to move forward under new leadership. His leadership. You're here again. The voice behind her drips with contempt. Sarah doesn't turn. She knows who it is without looking. Varen's footsteps have a particular weight to them, heavy with arrogance and cruel satisfaction. The servant said you skipped your duties this morning. He stops beside her, close enough that she can smell the wine on his breath. That's the 3rd time this week. I needed to see him. He's dead, little Omega. Varen crouches down, his pale eyes level with hers. Where Kael's gaze had been warm amber, Varen's is the color of dirty ice. 3 months dead. Your grieving period ended weeks ago. Syrah's hands curl into fists against her thighs. Once, she would have felt his emotions rolling off him like waves, the satisfaction, the cruelty, the dark pleasure he takes in her suffering. Her gift of resonance would have sung with the truth of his black heart. Now she feels nothing. The grief has hollowed her out completely. I loved him, she whispers. And he's gone. Varen grabs her arm, hauling her roughly to her feet. Which means you belong to the pack now. To me. The words send ice through her veins. She's heard the whispers in the servants' quarters, seen the way Varen's eyes follow her through the halls. As Kael's intended mate, she held status, protection, and a future. As Varen's property, she holds nothing. The council has made their decision, he continues, his grip tightening until she gasps. You'll be useful one way or another. I've already received offers. Offers? Her voice cracks. 3 alphas from the northern territories, 2 from the coast. His smile is a knife's edge. They're quite eager to own the woman who almost became queen. Some want you for breeding. Others just want to break what Kael treasured. Syrah's knees threaten to buckle. This can't be happening. Kael promised her safety, promised no one would ever hurt her again. But Kael is gone, and his promises turned to ash the moment the river swallowed him. Please, she breathes, hating the desperation in her voice. Please, I'll work harder. I'll do whatever you ask. Just don't. Don't what? Varen releases her, so suddenly she stumbles. Don't sell you like the commodity you are? You have no family, no pack, and no protector. You're nothing but a pretty face and a broken gift. He turns away, already dismissing her. The auction is in 3 days. I suggest you make peace with your dead king before then. It's the last time you'll see his grave. Sarah watches him go, her body trembling with cold and terror. 3 days. In 3 days, she'll be sold to the highest bidder, shipped off to some distant territory where no one knows her name, where no one will care if she lives or dies. She turns back to the grave marker, pressing her palm flat against the rain-slicked stone. I don't know how to do this without you, she whispers, tears mixing with the rain on her cheeks. I don't know how to survive what's coming. The stone offers no comfort, no warmth, no answers. But deep in the forest, hidden among the ancient pines, a shadow shifts and watches. He shouldn't be here. Kael knows this. He's broken every rule he set for himself by coming to the boundary, by letting his feet carry him close enough to see her kneeling in the mud. 3 months of discipline, of hiding, of forcing himself to stay away, all of it crumbles the moment he sees the bruises on her arms. His claws extend without conscious thought. The wolf inside him howls with rage, with the desperate need to tear Varen apart, to claim what belongs to him, to burn this entire deception to the ground. But he can't, not yet. From his position in the tree line, Kael watches Syrah press her hand to his grave marker. He can see her lips moving, can imagine the words she's whispering to a dead man who stands 50 yards away, very much alive. The pain in his chest is worse than any wound he's ever suffered. She's thinner than he remembers. The curves he used to trace with reverent fingers have sharpened into angles. Her dark hair hangs limp around a face that was once bright with laughter, now hollowed by grief. He did this to her. Kael's hands tremble as he grips the rough bark of the pine tree. He wants to go to her, to pull her into his arms and tell her everything about the assassination attempt, about the poison that should have killed him, about why he had to let the world believe he was dead. But Varen has spies everywhere. The moment Kael reveals himself, the conspiracy that nearly killed him will finish the job. And this time, they won't stop with him. They'll kill Sarah too. His wolf snarls at the thought, pushing against his control with savage desperation. 3 months of watching her suffer, of hearing reports about her mistreatment, of knowing that every moment he stays hidden is another moment she drowns in grief. And now Varen plans to sell her. The rage that floods through Kale is unlike anything he's felt before. It burns through his carefully constructed patience, demanding blood, demanding action, demanding he stop hiding like a coward while the woman he loves is auctioned off to monsters. 3 days. He has 3 days to dismantle a conspiracy that reaches the highest levels of his own court. 3 days to identify every traitor, neutralize every threat, and reclaim the throne they stole from him. 3 days before he loses her forever. Kale watches Sarah stumble away from his grave, her arms wrapped around herself against the rain. She looks so small, so broken, and so utterly alone. "Hold on, my love," he whispers into the wind, knowing she can't hear him. "Just hold on a little longer." Then he turns and vanishes into the forest, moving with the silent purpose of a predator who has finally chosen his prey. The hunters are about to become the hunted. 4 months earlier, the first time Sarah saw Kale, she thought he was the most terrifying creature she'd ever encountered. The Alpha King had come to the Ashwood settlement, personally a rare honor that sent the small border community into panicked preparation. Sarah stood among the other unmated wolves, her head bowed in proper submission as his entourage swept through their modest village square. "Which one is the resonant?" His voice was deep, commanding, carrying the weight of absolute authority. Sarah's heart stuttered. The elders had promised discretion. Her gift was supposed to be secret, protected from those who might exploit it. "My king," Elder Morath stepped forward nervously. "The girl has only minor abilities, hardly worth your attention. I'll decide what's worth my attention." The crunch of boots on gravel grew closer. "Look at me, girl." Every instinct screamed at her to keep her eyes down. But something in his voice, not command, but request, made her lift her chin. Amber eyes met hers. Not cold, not cruel, but curious, searching. Her gift hummed to life without permission, flooding her with the truth of him. Strength tempered by restraint, authority softened by compassion. A deep, aching loneliness buried beneath layers of duty, and beneath all of it, wonder. He was looking at her with wonder. "You feel it, don't you?" he asked quietly, too low for the others to hear. "What I am, what I feel." "Yes," she whispered, unable to lie. "Then you know I mean you no harm." She did know. Her gift had never been clearer. This man, this terrifying Alpha King with the power to destroy her entire settlement, would sooner cut off his own hand than hurt her. "Come with me," he said, extending his hand. "Not as a prisoner, not as property, as a guest, under my protection. Let me show you a world where your gift is valued, not hidden." She took his hand. In the weeks that followed, Sarah discovered a Kale the kingdom never saw, the private man behind the fearsome king, who laughed at her terrible jokes and listened for hours as she described the colors of people's emotions, who brought her rare flowers from the greenhouse because she'd mentioned once that she missed the meadows of her childhood, who held her hand during thunderstorms because he'd noticed she flinched at loud noises. "Why me?" she asked one evening as they walked through the fortress gardens. "You could have any wolf in the realm." Kale stopped, turning to face her. The setting sun painted his features in gold and shadow. "Because you see me," he said simply. "Not the crown, not the power. Me, the man who's terrified of failing his people, the boy who still misses his mother, the wolf who spent years believing he was too broken for love." He cupped her face in his hands. "You feel the truth of me, Sarah, and you stayed anyway." She kissed him then, rising on her toes to press her lips to his. He responded with desperate tenderness, as if she were precious beyond measure. "I want you as my mate," he murmured against her mouth. "Not because you're resonant, because you're you. Because when I'm with you, I finally feel whole." "Yes," she breathed. "Yes, I'll be yours." The mating ceremony was set for the autumn equinox. The entire realm celebrated the king's joy, the love story that seemed plucked from legend. They never made it to autumn. 6 weeks before the ceremony, Kale rode out to settle a border dispute. Routine, he'd called it. He'd be back before she missed him. 3 days later, Varen returned alone, with news that shattered her world. The king was dead, ambushed by raiders, his body lost to the river's merciless current, and Sarah's gift, overwhelmed by the tsunami of grief, went silent forever. The servants' quarters smell of mildew and despair. Sarah lies on her thin pallet, staring at the ceiling she's memorized over 3 months of sleepless nights. Once, She slept in silk sheets in the tower chamber Kale had prepared for her. Now she shares a cramped room with 6 other servants, her status stripped away the moment Varen declared himself acting king. Get up, Omega. The overseer's boot connects with her palate, jarring her fully awake. Kitchen duty. The king expects breakfast by sunrise. The king. Sierra's stomach turns at the word. Varen wears Kale's crown like a trophy, sits on Kale's throne like he earned it. The council accepted him without question. Kale's closest cousin, his beta, the logical successor to a king who left no heir. She drags herself upright, ignoring the ache in her ribs where Varen grabbed her yesterday. The bruises are hidden beneath her rough servant's dress, but she feels them with every breath. In the kitchen, Cook Marin works her harder than the others. Whether from cruelty or indifference, Sarah can't tell. Her gift would have known once. Now she's blind to everything but her own misery. Peel faster, Marin snaps, slamming another basket of potatoes before her. Unless you want the switch again. Sarah's hands move mechanically. Peel, rinse, and chop. Peel, rinse, and chop. The rhythm is almost meditative, allowing her mind to drift to memories she shouldn't revisit. Kale's hands covering hers as he taught her to dance. Kale's laugh when she accidentally called him, Your Majesty, in bed. Kale's eyes, soft with love, as he slid the betrothal ring onto her finger. The ring Varen ripped away the day after the funeral. Daydreaming again? A sharp pain blooms across her knuckles as Marin's wooden spoon cracks down. Worthless creature. No wonder the king's ghost won't rest. Sierra's head snaps up. What did you say? Marin's eyes narrow with superstitious fear. The guards have seen things. A shadow in the forest. A wolf that watches but never attacks. She makes a warning sign. The dead king's spirit, angry that his woman warms another's bed. I don't warm anyone's bed, Sarah whispers fiercely. Not yet. Marin's smile is cruel. But I've seen how Varen looks at you. Once you're sold and returned broken, he'll take what's left. That's what happens to pretty Omegas without protectors. The words land like physical blows. Sarah bends back over her potatoes, hiding the tears that threaten to fall. In the forest beyond the kitchen window, hidden among the winter bare branches, amber eyes watch. And burn. The child's scream splits the morning air. Sarah drops her scrub brush, racing toward the sound without thinking. In the courtyard, a crowd has gathered around one of the stable boys, a pup no older than 8. His arm bent at a sickening angle. Fool tried to calm the warhorse, someone mutters. Got what he deserved. Someone fetch the healer. Another voice calls. Healer's attending King Varen. Won't come for a servant brat. The boy writhes on the cobblestones, his face gray with shock. Sarah pushes through the crowd, dropping to her knees beside him. Let me see. She reaches for his arm. Don't touch him, Omega. A guard steps forward, his hand on his sword. You'll make it worse. His arm needs to be set before the bone heals wrong. Sarah's voice comes out stronger than she expects. I have training. Kael, the former king, ensured I learned basic medicine. The name works like a spell. The guard hesitates, uncertainty flickering across his face. Please, the boy whimpers. Please, it hurts. Sarah doesn't wait for permission. Her hands find the break with gentle precision, and she begins to manipulate the bone back into alignment. The boy screams once, then falls silent as the worst of the pain fades. I need cloth for a splint, she orders, and something flat, a wooden spoon, a ruler, anything. Someone produces the materials. Sarah works quickly, binding the arm with efficient movements. When she finishes, the boy's breathing has steadied, color returning to his cheeks. Thank you, he whispers, looking at her with something she hasn't seen in months. Hope. Well. The crowd parts for Varen's approach. The grieving Omega plays healer now. Sarah rises slowly, keeping her eyes lowered. The child was injured. My king. You only forgot your place. Varen circles her like a predator. Servants scrub floors. They don't give orders to guards. They don't touch what doesn't belong to them. He's a child. He was in pain. Pain builds character. Varen stops before her, close enough that she can smell the wine already on his breath despite the early hour. Something you'll learn soon enough at your new master's hands. His fingers grip her chin, forcing her face up. Against every instinct, her eyes meet his, and for one flickering moment, her gift stirs. She feels his emotions oily, toxic, and coiled with secrets and dark satisfaction. But beneath the cruelty, she senses something else. Fear. Deep, gnawing fear of something he can't control. The sensation vanishes as quickly as it came, but the knowledge remains. Varen is afraid. Of what? 2 days, he whispers against her ear. Enjoy them. He releases her and stalks away, leaving Sarah trembling in the courtyard. But this time, the trembling isn't entirely from fear. Something inside her is waking up. That night, Sarah dreams of amber eyes. She wakes, gasping, her hand pressed to her chest. The servants' quarters are dark and silent, but something feels different. Wrong. Present. A shadow moves near the window. Sarah's breath catches. She should scream. She should run. Instead, she watches the darkness coalesce into a shape she knows better than her own reflection. "You're not real," she whispers. "You're dead." "Am I?" The voice is rough, broken, and achingly familiar. Kale steps into the thin moonlight, and Sarah's entire world shifts beneath her feet. He's thinner than she remembers, his face shadowed with weeks of beard. A fresh scar cuts across his left cheek, and his clothes are rough traveling leathers instead of royal finery. But his eyes, those amber eyes that have haunted her dreams for 3 months, are unmistakably, impossibly alive. "How?" The word comes out as a sob. "I buried you. I mourned you. I've been dying every day since. I know." He crosses the room in 2 strides, pulling her against his chest. "I know, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Sarah." She beats her fists against him, fury and relief and grief tangling together. "How could you? How could you let me think I felt you die?" I felt the bond go silent. Poison. His arms tighten around her. It mimics death, slows the heart until it's nearly undetectable. By the time I woke, Varen had already declared me dead and seized power. "Then why didn't you come back?" She pulls away enough to look at him, tears streaming down her face. "Why stay hidden while I suffered?" Pain fractures his features. "Because the assassination wasn't random raiders. It came from inside my own court. Varen, 3 council members, and at least a dozen guards, all part of a conspiracy that spent years planning my death. Sarah's blood runs cold. Varen tried to kill you. Varen succeeded in killing me, or he thinks he did." Kale's jaw tightens. "The moment I reveal myself, they'll finish what they started, and this time, they won't leave survivors. Everyone who supported me, everyone I love." His voice breaks. "You, Sarah. They'll kill you to ensure my bloodline never continues." Understanding crashes over her. "You stayed dead to protect me. I stayed dead to protect everyone." He cups her face in his hands, his thumbs brushing away her tears. "I've spent 3 months identifying every traitor, building a network of loyalists, waiting for the right moment to strike. But then I learned about the auction." His eyes darken with barely contained rage. "No one touches you," he growls. "No one sells you. No one lays a single finger on what's mine. I'm not property," she whispers, "but there's no heat in it. No, you're my mate, my heart. The only reason I survived that poison." He presses his forehead to hers. "I woke in the river with your name on my lips. I dragged myself to shore because the thought of leaving you alone in the world was more unbearable than death." Sarah's gift flares to life without warning. The bond that went silent 3 months ago floods back, overwhelming her with the truth of him. Love, fierce and desperate. Guilt, crushing in its weight. Determination, hard as steel. And underneath it all, the same terror she sensed in Varen. Fear of losing her. "I felt that," she breathes. "I felt you." The bond is healing. Relief softens his features. "Sarah, I need you to trust me. One more day. Give me until tomorrow night to finish what I've started, and then I swear on everything I am I will never leave you again." "What happens tomorrow?" His smile is sharp as a blade. "Varen holds an auction. I hold a resurrection." Before she can respond, voices echo in the corridor outside. Kale tenses, already moving toward the window. "Wait." She catches his hand. "Don't leave me again. Please. Never." He kisses her forehead, her cheeks, and the corner of her mouth. "But if they find me here tonight, everything falls apart." Varen dies thinking he's won. I need that arrogance. I need him comfortable. "He's afraid," Sarah says suddenly. "I felt it today when my gift flickered. He's terrified of something." Kale pauses, his eyes sharpening. "What exactly did you feel?" "Fear. Deep fear. Something he can't control." A slow smile spreads across Kale's face. He knows. Some part of him knows I'm not really dead. He squeezes her hand. That fear will make him careless, and careless men make fatal mistakes. The voices grow closer. Kale slips through the window, silent as the shadow she first mistook him for. "Tomorrow," he whispers from the darkness. "Stay alive for me. Sarah, I'll come for you, I promise." Then he's gone, leaving her alone with a racing heart and a gift that finally sings again. The next morning, Sarah moves through her duties with new purpose. Everything looks different now. The oppressive walls of the fortress feel less like a prison and more like a battlefield she's finally learned to navigate. Her gift pulses steadily beneath her skin, awakened by the restoration of her bond with Kale. She pays attention to things she'd ignored in her grief. The guards who exchange knowing glances when Varen passes. The servants who whisper in corners and fall silent when others approach. The council members who smile too widely, laugh too loudly, hide too much. Traitors. She's surrounded by traitors. But she's also surrounded by something else, people who flinch when Varen speaks, who move through the fortress with the careful steps of prey animals, wolves who served Kale loyally, and now suffer under his cousin's cruel reign. You're different today. Cook Marin eyes her suspiciously, less moping. I've accepted my fate. Sarah lies smoothly. No point in grieving forever. Marin grunts, unconvinced but unwilling to probe further. Sarah returns to her work, hiding her small smile. That afternoon, she finds an opportunity. One of the kitchen girls, Nella, barely 16, burns her hand on a pot of boiling water. The girl bites back her scream, knowing that showing weakness invites punishment. Let me see. Sarah draws her into the pantry, away from watching eyes. It's nothing, Nella whimpers. I'll be fine. You'll scar if it's not treated. Sarah examines the angry red blisters, then places her palm over the wound. Her gift responds instinctively. Not just emotional resonance, but something deeper, a healing warmth that flows from her into the injured girl. The blisters fade, the redness recedes. Within moments, Nella's hand is smooth and unmarked. How did you? Nella stares at her hand in wonder. I thought you could only feel emotions. Sarah stares at her own palms, equally shocked. So did I. She'd never healed before. Her gift had always been passive, receptive, but the bond with Kale, restored and strengthened, seems to have unlocked something new. Please don't tell anyone, Sarah whispers. Not yet. Nella's eyes fill with tears of gratitude. You saved me from the switch, from scarring. I won't forget this. She squeezes Sarah's hand. Some of us remember what it was like when King Kale ruled. Some of us pray every night for his return. Sarah's heart clenches. Keep praying. Word spreads through the servants' quarters in hushed whispers and hopeful glances. The Omega can heal. They come to her in secret, a twisted ankle, a festering cut, a child's fever that won't break. Sarah helps them all, her new gift growing stronger with each use. And with each healing, she feels something shift in the fortress's atmosphere. Hope. Fragile and flickering, but unmistakably present. She also gathers information. The servants see everything, hear everything, and now they share everything with her. Which guards are loyal to Varen? Which council members attend secret meetings after midnight? Where the weapons are stored? How many soldiers patrol each gate? At night, she slips the information to Kyle through a gap in the garden wall. She never sees him too risky, he insists, but she feels him nearby. A warm presence at the edge of her consciousness. Counselor Thorne meets with Varen privately every evening, she whispers into the darkness. And Captain Draven has doubled the guards on the East Tower. The Treasury, Kale's voice drifts back. They're protecting their escape route. Will it be enough? Your loyalists against their guards? A pause. It will be close. But I have something they don't expect. What? She feels his smile through the bond. You. Me? Sarah frowns. You're a resonant who can now heal. Do you understand how rare that is? How powerful? His voice softens. You'll know the traitors by their emotions. You'll heal our wounded faster than they can fall. You're not just my mate, Sarah. You're my secret weapon. Pride and terror war in her chest. I don't know if I'm ready. You survived 3 months of hell without me. You're ready for anything. Before she can respond, footsteps echo in the corridor. She presses back against the wall, her breath catching in her throat. Tonight, Kyle whispers urgently. It happens tonight. Be ready. Then his presence fades, leaving her alone with the weight of what's coming. The attack comes hours before dawn, earlier than planned. Sarah wakes to screaming. Not the distant sounds of training or the occasional servant's punishment. This is chaos, violence, death. She throws on her dress and races into the corridor. Smoke billows from somewhere below. Steel clashes against steel, and through it all, one sound rises above the rest. Howling, dozens of wolves, their voices raised in battle cry. Kale, she breathes. No, it's too soon. She fights her way toward the great hall, dodging panicked servants and clashing warriors. Her gift blazes to life, sorting friend from foe by the colors of their emotions. Blue-silver loyalty, red-black treachery, She shouts warnings to Kale's fighters, points out hidden enemies, becomes the eyes the rebellion desperately needs. In the Great Hall, she finds carnage. Kale stands at the center of the chaos, his sword painting arcs of crimson through the air. He's magnificent and terrible, the Alpha King risen from the dead to reclaim what was stolen. Around him, his loyalists fight with desperate ferocity against Varen's guards. But something is wrong. There are too many enemies, far more than their intelligence suggested. And leading them, his pale eyes bright with triumph, is Varen. Did you think I didn't know? Varen's laugh cuts through the battle. Your precious Omega isn't the only one with informants, cousin. Kale's sword falters. How? Counselor Marsh. You trusted him completely. Varen's smile is poison. He's been mine for years. Syrah watches in horror as more guards pour into the hall. Kale's forces are overwhelmed, pushed back, cut down. The hope that burned so brightly moments ago gutters like a candle in a storm. Surrender, Varen calls out. Surrender, and I'll make your death quick. Fight, and I'll make you watch while I break your Omega piece by piece. Kale's eyes find Syrah across the hall. She feels his anguish, his desperate love, his refusal to let her suffer for his failures. He lowers his sword. No, Syrah screams. Kale, don't. But he's already dropping to his knees, his head bowed in false submission. Varen strides toward him, victory written across his cruel features. He draws his dagger, the same dagger Syrah realizes that likely delivered the poison 3 months ago. Any last words, cousin? Kale looks up, and despite everything, he smiles. Just 3. His voice carries across the suddenly silent hall. Now, my love. Syrah doesn't understand. She's not a warrior. She has no weapon, no training, no way to, and then she feels it. The bond between them blazes white-hot, and power she never knew she possessed erupts from her core, not healing this time, but something older, something primal, resonance in its purest form. Every wolf in the hall feels it, the truth of Kale's rightful claim, the corruption of Varen's treachery, the absolute certainty of who deserves to rule. The emotional blast drives the traitors to their knees, clutching their heads as their own guilt becomes unbearable. But Varen doesn't fall. He staggers, blood streaming from his nose, but his hatred is stronger than his guilt. With a roar of pure rage, he lunges toward Syrah. If I can't have the kingdom, he snarls, neither can he. The dagger arcs toward her throat. Kale moves faster than thought. He throws himself between Syrah and the blade, taking the dagger meant for her heart. The poisoned steel sinks deep into his chest, and Syrah feels the wound as if it were her own, a tearing agony that drops her to her knees. No. She catches him as he falls, his blood soaking through her dress. No, not again. I can't lose you again. Varen stumbles backward, shocked by the failure of his killing blow. Before he can recover, one of Kale's loyalists, a massive warrior with grief-maddened eyes, tackles him to the ground. The sounds of their struggle fade into background noise as Syrah focuses everything on the man dying in her arms. Hold on, she begs, pressing her hands to the wound. Please, Kale. Hold on. Worth it, he gasps, blood bubbling at his lips. Protecting you. Always worth it. Her gift surges in response to her desperation. The healing power that had been growing all day now floods through her like a river breaking through a dam. She pours everything she has into him, her strength, her love, her very essence. But the poison fights back. She can feel it spreading through his veins, the same corruption that nearly killed him 3 months ago. It's designed to resist healing, to mimic death so perfectly that even a resonant can't tell the difference. I won't let you go, she snarls. Do you hear me, Kale Vornath? I mourned you once. I will not mourn you again. The bond between them pulses with shared determination. His life force tangles with hers, their wolves howling in unified defiance of death itself. Around them, the battle reaches its conclusion. Varen lies broken on the stones, his treacherous council members dead or captured. Kale's loyalists have won, but their king, their true king, is dying. Please, Syrah whispers, tears falling onto his pale face. Please come back to me. His eyes flutter, his breath rattles. And for one terrible moment, she feels the bond between them begin to fade. Syrah refuses to let go. She digs deeper than she ever has before, past the limits of her gift, past the boundaries of her own life force. If saving him means giving everything she has, then she'll give it gladly. I need you, she whispers against his forehead. The kingdom needs you. Don't you dare leave us now. The poison writhes like a living thing, fighting her healing with vicious intelligence. But Syrah has something stronger than magic. She has love, real love, forged in loss and tempered by suffering. The kind of love that walks through fire, that endures the unendurable, that refuses to accept impossibility. She feels the moment the poison breaks. It's like a fever snapping, a storm finally passing. The corruption in Kale's blood dissolves under the onslaught of her healing, his wounds knitting closed, his heart steadying into strong, rhythmic beats. Color returns to his face. His breathing deepens, and when his eyes finally open, they're clear and bright and filled with wondering love. Sira. Her name on his lips is everything. You absolute fool! She's laughing and crying simultaneously, clutching his face in her blood-stained hands. You magnificent, reckless, self-sacrificing fool. I prefer devoted mate. He struggles to sit up, wincing at the residual soreness where the wound had been. Is it over? Varen? Dead. The massive warrior who'd tackled Varen approaches, dropping to one knee. Your orders, my king? Kale looks around the great hall at the bodies of traitors, at the survivors who fought for his return, at the woman who brought him back from death's door twice now. Secure the fortress, he says, his voice strengthening with each word. Account for all casualties, and someone find my crown. I believe my cousin's been keeping it warm for me. A ragged cheer rises from the loyalists, but Kyle only has eyes for Sira. You saved me, he says softly, pulling her close. Again, someone has to. She buries her face against his chest, breathing in the scent of him alive, real, hers. You're terrible at staying alive on your own. Then I suppose you'll have to stay with me forever. His hand tilts her chin up. To keep me out of trouble. Is that a proposal? That's a fact. He kisses her forehead, her cheeks, and the tears still tracking down her face. I was dead without you, Sarah. Not just physically, my soul had stopped. You're my heartbeat, my breath, my reason for everything. Kale, marry me. The words are fierce, urgent, not because of politics or alliances or kingdom building. Marry me because I love you more than life itself, and I refuse to spend another day without you by my side. She answers him with a kiss. Spring comes to Thornhaven like a benediction. The fortress that once echoed with fear now rings with laughter. Children play in courtyards where soldiers once drilled. Gardens bloom in corners that had known only stone and shadow, and in the great hall where blood was spilled, a celebration unfolds. The mating ceremony draws wolves from every territory in the realm. They come to witness history, the resurrection of their king, the rise of their queen, the beginning of an era built on something other than fear. Sarah stands at the altar in a gown of silver and white, her dark hair crowned with winter roses. Across from her, Kale waits in ceremonial black, his amber eyes soft with a love that makes her knees weak. Nervous? He murmurs as she takes her place beside him. Terrified, she admits. There are hundreds of people watching. Then look at me. He takes her hands. Only me. The rest of them don't matter. The elder who performs the ceremony speaks of bonds and duty, of tradition and honor. But when the time comes for their vows, Sarah ignores the prescribed words. I spent 3 months at your grave, she says, her voice carrying clear and strong. I mourned you with everything I had. I thought I'd never feel whole again. Her grip tightens on his hands. And then you came back. Not as a ghost, not as a dream, but as the stubborn, reckless, beautiful wolf who refused to let death keep him from me. Tears glitter in Kale's eyes. Sira, I vow to stand beside you, she continues. Not behind you, not beneath you, but beside you. As your partner, your equal, your mate in all things. She smiles, and your personal healer, since you seem incapable of staying out of trouble. Laughter ripples through the hall. Kale raises her hands to his lips. I vow to deserve you, he says simply. Every day, for the rest of my life. I vow to be the king you believe I can be, the mate you need me to be, and the wolf who would walk through fire for your smile. His voice drops low. I vow to never make you mourn me again. The mating bite, when it comes, is gentle, a promise sealed in the oldest language wolves know. Sarah feels the bond between them lock into place, permanent and unbreakable. She is no longer the broken Omega who knelt at a grave in the rain. She is no longer property, no longer powerless, no longer alone. She is Sarah Vornoth, Queen of Thornhaven, mate of the Alpha King who loved her enough to die for her and loved her even more by coming back. As they turn to face their people, hands intertwined, Sira catches sight of the massive warrior who'd killed Varen. He stands near the back of the hall, his scarred face softened by something like hope. The kingdom is healing. Slowly, imperfectly, but undeniably. And it all started with a woman who refused to stop loving a ghost.